if you want to stop me at any point, just signal me if you've got a question or a concern, or you think that I'm wrong, because I very well could be. This is the sum of about 2 or 3 months worth of research for me. Not full time, of course, but 2 or 3 months of ongoing research to make sure that what I thought I knew was either still valid or had become invalidated, because this field changes every time Google changes their algorithms. What we're trying to do here is trying to create sustainable results. But first, let's talk about what SEO is. Basically, it's anything you can do to optimize your website for the internal or external aspects in order to increase the organic traffic to a site receives from search engines. So organic traffic, not paid, not because they saw your URL somewhere else, but whatever they did, they went to Google or they went to MSN or they went to Yahoo, they typed something into the search engine and your site showed up early enough that they clicked. That's an organic result, okay? Rather than a paid result, say in the sponsored links or in the or some banner advertisement, okay? Some obvious SEO tips. You need to write and post lots of relevant, articulate, well-structured content. You need to know what you're saying and why. You need to contribute to the overall value of the web by creating something unique. If you're just a me too, then why should anybody come to you? Why shouldn't they go to the original? Keep it current, update it as often as you can, and whenever possible avoid broken links, obvious. Broken links make your site reputation overall go down, not just in the eyes of your visitors, but also in the eyes of Google and the other search engines. Avoid using anything that the search engines can't use unless you don't care that they see it or not. And Google's #1 rule is to always ignore Google and ignore search engine optimization and focus strictly on the real people. In today's competitive market, that's not exactly possible for most of us. We need to at least do some things, or at least know that we're not doing things wrong and getting ourselves penalized. But in general, you shouldn't try and do anything that directly manipulates Google or how their algorithms work, same for MSN, Yahoo, and those things. Eventually they will penalize you as soon as you're caught, or in the case of Google, anybody who uses webmaster tools, which we'll get to in a minute, can report you as a spam site and get you temporarily blacklisted for 90 days, which for some businesses is enough to put you under. Traffic generation is the other side, or a larger scope than search engine optimization. It's anything you can do to actively encourage people to come to your site again and again and again. Okay? SEO is a subset of traffic generation. SEO is just one thing you can do to get people to come to your site, but there's a whole bunch more you can do. For example, have a short, easy to remember URL, something people can say from friend to friend or person to person that can say, hey, go to WeCreate.com. But avoid dashes like the plague. We always, since we incorporated, have a dash in our .com name. We also own the non-dash, but every time I say, yeah, just email Cam at WeCreate.com, I get with or without the dash. Either. If I had to do it over again 10 years ago, I would have never bought we-create.com. I would have bought something else.
Cam?
Yes?
Question. I noticed when you type into Google e-commerce,
yes,
with or without the dash, with the dash gets more hits, at least the last time I tried.
More results?
Yeah, more results.
Yes. We'll get to that in a minute. When I get talking about keywords. Okay? But yes, very valid observation. Now, you'll note that dashes in the domain name. More than 2 dashes, and there is an unofficial penalty from Google. Nobody can prove it. Nobody has it out of Google's mouth, but more than 2 dashes in the domain name, and everybody seems to have a consensus that anecdotally you get penalized at least a little bit. But nobody can prove it, so take it with a grain of salt. Put your URL on everything. Your business cards, your letterhead, your advertising, your signs, your clothes, your cars, and your children. And specifically maybe your children's clothing. Get backlinks from your Get backlinks from your suppliers, your clients, your partners whenever possible. Anything you can do. If you sell beauty products, 15 different brands of beauty products, go to each of those manufacturers and get them to link to you on their where to buy from page. Okay? If you get media coverage, beg, plead for them to put your URL, even if it's not linked. If it's just shown on the screen on the TV, if it's in print in a newspaper, it's written down as something that somebody could type in. Or better, if it's in print in a newspaper and also on their website, encourage them, possibly with money, to make that an active link. That will be very valuable for you. And generally exploit anything you have in your everyday life. Anything you can do, word of mouth, anywhere you can print your URL, anybody you can tell about your domain name, all with the obvious caveat that you don't want to piss them off, do it. Okay, less obvious traffic generation tips. Okay, you could use RSS for certain things, maybe your news, maybe your press releases section on your website to notify past visitors that something's changed. Obviously, they're going to have to subscribe, so they're going to have to be interested enough to actually subscribe to RSS for changes to your website. But if your content's compelling enough, they will, and even if it's 1% or 0.5% of your visitors to your site actually bother to subscribe, that's another good chunk of traffic that will come back every time you change something. Buy online advertising if you have the budget. Buy it strategically, buy it where people in your demographic would read it. Okay, don't just buy it anywhere. Buy it based either geographically, where people in your area can drive to your store. Buy it on sites that people read, that are your target market. Consider advertising on the search engine results pages. About 75% of the clicks off of the search engine results pages go through the organic results, which is why we're doing search engine optimization. But 25% of the people who visit and do a search on Google actually click on one of the ads. So it's fairly decent, especially considering that most advertising has a 1 or a 2% click-through rate. Right? Participate in anything online that gives you value, and potentially use it to give yourself value by including your URL in the signature. Another great one is give something away digitally. I'm videotaping this, I'm going to snip it up, put it on YouTube, and link to it from our website. Hopefully people will link directly to our website rather than to the YouTube videos, but who knows? Either way, I'm going to put the URL at the end of every video segment. Can't hurt. Okay? And you could always, if you have the money, project your URL on the moon with lasers.